help me ask him one question.
I mean, you can't ask me question.
Help me ask him one question.
Help me
ask him that. Is he still interested in chairmanship?
You cannot ask me question.
So, because this, by the time my tenure lapse, I'm not contesting again.
This is Bottom Line.
All right, good morning and welcome to the second part of the Bottom Line. My name is Samuel Olugbemine. Well, it's just 137 days until the presidential elections taking place on the 25th of February in 2023. Now, just yesterday, the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu, said the opposition People's Democratic Party should never again be allowed to rule Nigeria. Tinubu attacked the PDP while speaking at the inauguration of the Tinubu-Shetima Women Presidential Campaign Team at the State House Banquet Hall at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. He described the PDP as a political party of termites. Now, speaking further, he went ahead to say he is a builder and knows what to do immediately after he claims victory in 2023. Well, what will Tinubu do? That would form part of the questions this morning as I speak to the Minister of State for Labour and Employment and Chief Spokesman of the Tinubu-Shetima campaign, Mr. Festus Keyamo, SAN. Good morning, Honorable Minister. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
All right, quickly, ASUU Bola Tinubu is back in the country after a lot of controversy around his absence. Now, people want to know, because a lot of the conversation at that time was around his health status. I think the first thing a lot of people want to know is, will he be making his health records public in the run-up to this election?
Will we be making what public?
His health records public, perhaps just to let people know that is perfectly fine and fit for the elections to take the office of president.
You can only make your health records public if there is a controversy about your health, or if there is any kind of indication at all that you are not fit. Now, the rhetorical question I want to ask this morning is that, is there any indication at all that Bola Tinubu is not fit?
But you know that there have been concerns around the state of health.
Why are we not asking other people to make their health status public?
But maybe all presidential candidates should make their records public.
Has he collapsed in public? Has he fainted in public? Does he not climb up and distress himself and come down and go? Don't you see him going around? So this is only the handiwork of mischief maker. The only time he needed, even when he was not a candidate, the only time he needed to explain what he went for in London and when he went through a surgery was that he went through a kneecap surgery. And that was about 2 years ago, if I can remember, a year plus.
But you know that in the last few days, because
hold on. You asked a question, let me finish. And then he came out publicly then to say, oh, well, I had a knee problem and I went for surgery. After then, it was okay. He went about his business till today. So, at times, we cannot just start regurgitating and parroting what these detractors and opposition parties.
But you know that is why people are asking, because anytime he goes missing or he leaves Nigeria, the first thing on the minds of people is that perhaps he has gone out to tend to his health. So maybe putting out the records, not just him, but all presidential candidates, would give Nigerians a fair and clear idea of what they are dealing with.
But now you are not talking. So not like, Tinubu make his health record public. If it's a requirement for all presidential candidates, why not? But not that somebody should zero in on ASUU and see there's a problem with him. What is the problem with him? What? Is it by the conjecture of opposition party or detractor? Or when they wake up and they dream and see him in their dreams? Somebody talking about his normal businesses, having public meetings, staying up till 3 a.m. in the morning, consulting, and somebody just wakes up and conjures a story that the candidate is not well, as if they are God. I made this point last week in a program And I'm saying it that I am not saying it with glee. I'm not going to state this example with glee or with some kind of sense of vindication. I'm not going to do that. It's a solemn situation. But there was a gentleman, I think 26 years old, who was counting Asiwaju around March or April, or I think when he just emerged a candidate. The guy was always posting on Facebook that look at this one that is butter to go, look at this one that is almost like a dead man. That boy, a famous Facebook user, he died about 2 weeks ago, 26-year-old boy. He died. In 2015, I'm sure you know the popular Nigerian governor then, who went to take a full-page advert in Punch newspaper. Front page advert. Drew Buhari like a skeleton and said that Nigeria should not allow Yaradua happen again on Nigeria. They were campaigning against Buhari then, that this one will not survive. 8 years in power. Buhari is finishing strong now, looking healthier than before, walking up and down. That governor, the popular governor there, went through a surgery recently, a much younger person. He went through a life-threatening, surgery recently.
All right.
We thank God for his life.
Well,
this is not what we should. We should not play politics with health or with life. We should never, because God owns life and health.
But well, you should understand that Nigerians are simply concerned because of the amount of public funds which we do not know are usually plunged into taking care.
I'm simply answering them now. You work at. I'm not saying that you should not act, but I'm answering them with examples. It's as simple as that.
Okay,
so
let's.
Make their point and make my point too. And then sometimes it's not Nigerians, like I said, it's the tractors. The tractors are hipping this and pushing these stories down the throats of Nigerians. So when you repeat a lie 1,000 times, it almost becomes the truth. Even if you are there now, I begin to tell everybody every day that Sam is sick. You should listen to his voice very well. People will first dismiss. If I repeat it the 100 times, it looks like it's true. This time, the way I'm hearing it looks like it's not well though. That is how it works. It's psychology. It's what they call gaslighting. You just make people, doubt their own sanity.
All right, Mr. Keyamo, let's make progress now. I remember you saying during one of your interviews recently that the manifesto or the roadmap of your candidates will be released on the same day of the launch of the campaign council. I'd just like to know, is there a date for that at this moment?
That date will be known in the next couple of days.
How long? How long do Nigerians have to wait before they can see?
Because, like I said, I cannot make any announcement until there is a clear decision by the leadership, and that decision will be made this week, most likely.
But how long do Nigerians have to wait until they see? Well, how long do Nigerians have to wait until they see the roadmap of your candidate?
We have 4 months to campaign. Everyone should be patient. There's no deadline for us. INEC deadline has come and gone. But we have all the time in the world to organize ourselves. I said I made this example too, that in 2019, INEC lifted the curtain on November 18, 2018. Take note of the timeline. November 18. We did not inaugurate our campaign council until January 7, 2019. 50 days later. That was when what we did. And then, because of that momentum, it swept us to victory.
But you want this campaign to be issue-based.
They are masters of this game. So
but you want this campaign to be issue-based, Mr. Keyamo.
Hold on, let me finish. Right now, you can see that we are not even inactive. Even right now, we are not inactive. There are pockets of activities and rallies going on here and there. Just yesterday, look at the massive inauguration of the women wing. It also shows the respect and regard we have for the women in our party. Yesterday, we made sure that the women took the lead. I inaugurated the women wing yesterday. So there's no legal deadline or INEC deadline that you must begin compulsory. We will do it, and then we will announce it in a couple of days. Nigerians should be patient with us.
All right, but you know that you want this campaign to be issue-based. Nigerians want to discuss the issues. What will you be campaigning with? Even before the roadmap is released.
I'm sure you have.
Are you going to be doing that with the achievements of President Muhammadu Buhari?
I am sure you have seen all our campaigns so far. One, Asiwaju is not new to public office, so he has a record. And two, he belongs to a party too that has governed Nigeria for 7 years plus. So there are records to campaign upon. I'm sure you have seen my podcast. The podcast I've been releasing in the last 3 weeks. I'm sure you have seen a couple of them where we take one achievement per week that Asiwaju has excelled, in when he was in public office. So the manifesto will just be the icing on the cake. The manifesto will now tell you how he will take it to the next level at the national stage, especially the things he did in Lagos State. So when you talk about issue-based campaign, I am sorry to say so. I apologize for saying that the other parties they don't have anything to campaign with. It is we that are campaigning on issues. You see the other party, go online and see them, they're just insulting everybody. One particular party. They're not doing anything. Instead of taking their achievement, they wait for us to face our achievement and begin to attack. They will not do anything, they will wait again for hours. Somebody will post something about what we have done, they will attack. They don't have any other job but to attack. Another presidential candidate has nothing at all to campaign with. Because you asked the question, that's why I'm answering you like that. Like this, I'm answering you now. Another candidate says he was the vice president to somebody. Meanwhile, he tried to claim the achievements of his boss. However, throughout the 8 years when he was office, he spent the 8 years undermining his boss and fighting his boss. And he was virtually kicked out of office. He was isolated. Yes, he wants to claim the achievements of his boss. He has no record in public office other than the fact that he was vice president and was fighting his boss throughout the 8 years. What other achievement more than that? He was not governor, he was not senator, he was nothing. He has no record in public office. Not one. People should look at it from that perspective. And he now says that he wants to claim the achievements of his boss. If you are not boss, you are not boss. You didn't make those decisions. So you can see that we are the only ones, Sam. At the end of the day, when you say issue based, we are the only ones campaigning on issues. We are the only ones. No other person.
Okay,
we have been rolling out achievements of Asiwaju as governor. The one who said the governor of Anambra State has never rolled out any achievement. He's only quoting figures from China and Singapore. That's what he does.
But you know that unemployment, talking about the issues now, one of the things that is of concern to Nigerians is the employment rates, the unemployment level, and also around inflation, because Nigerians have to deal with things that they have to buy. Now, if you look at the current records by the NBS, unemployment stands at around 33.3%. If you look at inflation, it's hovers at around 18%, which is one of the highest since 2005. With these records, how do you intend to convince the ordinary Nigerian on the street who feel the heat and the pangs of some of these things to vote for your candidate and your party?
Okay, so give me 5 minutes to explain this so you start interrupting me so that I can flow.
Okay.
The first one you talk about is unemployment rate. It is not salutary at all. It is not something we should be proud of. Before COVID, it was 23%. After COVID, it rose to about 33%. However, you must also note, go and look at the NBS figures too. The unemployment rate they're talking about is not only the burden of the federal government. So people should not wake up and say, oh, Buhari unemployment. No. Employment is a function of both the federal, state, and local government. So that figure you are seeing, there is not a federal government figure alone. All the states are involved at their different levels, so they have responsibility for employment. Go and see the breakdown.
And that would include the 22 states that are currently under APC. Okay, go ahead. Go on, Honorable Minister.
You know, so go and look at the NBS figures too. It affects state level and the state levels too. I'm going to come to the second part of the answer as to what we have done on our own part. But I just want to give a general overview first, so that people will not go away with the impression that, oh, Buhari, federal government, APC. All governments are different tiers of government affecting all the parties. And if you look at the breakdown state by state, you can see that it affects many PDP states that are also under that radar of unemployment, that they have not been able to provide employment, and also the APC state and the AFGA state too. These are the three states, the three parties governing all the states. So what I'm only saying to you is that not that we are proud of it, but no other party, none of the other parties have a right to say they will hold us responsible and that they are not also involved. We are all involved in this task of trying to provide employment for Nigeria. So they have no grounds to use it to campaign against us. That is the point I just made. On our part, what have we done? What we have done is that because of the COVID-19 pandemic and the fact that the unemployment went up after the COVID-19 pandemic, we have on our part decided to bring up so many programs, and that is part of the COVID-19 package that we generated, which about 2.1 trillion, if I remember. And what we have concentrated on is to skill up Nigerians. Now, you may not see the result immediately now, but all the issues, all the steps we have put in place will begin to yield, dividends, perhaps, at the beginning of the new government. We are trying to skill up Nigerians as much as possible so that they can be self-employed. We know that employment cannot be tackled from the point of public sector, employment. There's no chance again in the public sector to employ people. No matter how much you open up the public sector or chances you create, you can employ, more than 1% of Nigerians. So the key to the major thing is that we have identified the key to unlocking the unemployment market, which is the fact that we have to skill up Nigeria. And so we are generating a lot of these programs within our NGA. The National Director of Employment, SMEDAN, even the Ministry of Labor and Employment, we have a skills department where we are skilling up a lot of Nigerians. And we are going to bring this data out to Nigerians as much as possible very soon to see how much work we are doing in that regard so that people can be self-employed. The concentration on also shifting our attention to agriculture is that we are encouraging people to go back to the farms. You can see that a lot of agriculture is picking up so much now that for the first time in many years, agriculture added so much to the GDP recently. The GDP, agriculture added about 24-25% to our GDP. That has never happened before. So there's a lot of concentration on making people go back to the farms. So we're trying to open up other. Then look at the Empower program that we instituted. That even graduates, medical doctors who cannot practice medicine, they will go back and we will train them and make sure they acquire some kind of skill to ensure that they can be self-employed. So I agree, like I said, you are correct. You are not right. You are right. The numbers are not good, but we on our own path and what concerns us, we are making those efforts. We encourage those state governments too, that PDP governments, APC governments, Afghan governments to make those efforts too, because it is a scourge that is sweeping across the world. The pandemic affected unemployment around the world, around the world so much. Now, to the second part of the question about inflation, you talk about the 20-year inflation. In fact, you didn't get it. Let me even help you. It is worse than what you said. You said 18%. No, it has risen to 19%.
No, I said around 18%. 18%.
No, it has even gone higher. It's gone higher. It go higher than what you said. I agree with you. It has gone higher to about 19% now. The last figure, MBS figure, it's about 19%. And the one that is yet to be released, we're expecting it to rise to about 20.5%. So I am being honest with you. It's going to rise to about 20.5%. That's what we're expecting because we are monitoring the economic indices. Now, that's about a 20-year high. However, inflationary trend in other parts of the world because of the post-COVID-19 problems that the whole world is facing. Britain, UK had a 40-year high. United States had a 40-year high inflationary trend. The whole of Europe also had about 40-year high, not 20. 40 years high. Something has ever happened in 40 years in the UK. And so what we are doing is that within our own strength resources, within our own abilities, while the world is battling with inflationary trend all over the world, we are struggling to keep it down. We are struggling to keep it down. So in other words, because of the fantastic policies we have been able to put in place, the numbers you are seeing, that you are quoting, against the trend all over the world is still minimal. Against the trend. I'll tell you one of those policies, for instance. Now, a major component of inflation is food prices. In
Yeah.
other words, if you don't watch, when you are calculating inflation, a lot of food prices add a lot to inflationary trend. Now, if we did not concentrate early enough on growing our own rice, because we are the number one producer of rice in Africa now, we have overtaken Egypt. If we had not concentrated on rice, on being self-sufficient in rice production, in other goods, other edible goods, yam and all that, if we are not concentrated so much on massive production of local production to make ourselves self-sufficient, by now, those figures will be going up to about 29, 30%. So the figures you are saying is still a lot of effort to keep it down at that level. And there's apologies, of course. Nobody is happy about it. I'm not saying this with all kinds of arrogance and all that. I am just stating the fact. We only say we keep apologizing that this is the best we can do. As against what the world is going through. It could have been worse. Now, the rice production, that we are self-sufficient rice production and other goods, is making sure that we are not importing these goods at this time. Assuming we are still importing rice at this time, how much are we going to be paying for it now? How much? Where is the dollars? Where would the dollars be to import the rice now?
All right.
It will be nowhere.
All right, Honorable Minister. Now, let's look at this other instance here as regards food prices. Now, I'm aware that as at this morning, the cost of local rice per 50 kg is hovering at around 40,000 naira. Now, the chairman of the Rice Farmers Association right here was giving me a hint that this could rise to as much as 50 to 60,000 as you move closer towards the festive season. Now, how exactly do you justify production of rice? Say that we are one of the highest producers of rice in Africa, and then it's still not exactly affordable to the average Nigerian, because rice is one of the most commonly consumed staple food in the country.
Let me explain what is going on. One of the major problems too and components of that is other factors that are outside our control. It is, for example, one of the many components of that is the diesel price, moving goods from one place to the other. I'm sure you know the cost of diesel now, and that's outside our control. The energy crisis is worldwide. Go and see what is costing in the US now, costing in the UK. The diesel price. So diesel was about 300 and something per liter before. Now we are doing 800 naira per liter.
Yeah.
More than 100% increase, and all within the last few months. All the land, there's no landlord-tenant relationship all over the country that they have to provide services to the tenant like electricity through diesel. That has not changed in the last few months. Sam, I know you know what I'm talking about. You must live in a premises where these things happen, where you have a generator. It has affected everything. Movement of goods from one place to the other. So this is the problem we have. We just want to, and these are issues that are completely out of our control. This is a worldwide issue. The issue of diesel is a worldwide issue. And pricing of diesel. So these are some of the problems we are facing. And like I said, it could have been worse. It could have been worse. If we have not taken steps to ensure that if we keep it within Nigeria, we make it local. And we also empower the farmers. Because by stopping importation of rice, even these farmers you're talking about, they became empowered. So don't forget that this money we are talking about, that we're using to buy rice, yes, some burden on the consumers, is also empowering Nigerians. The money is kept within Nigeria instead of paying from Singapore to import rice. Before, this money you're talking about, this price of rice, would have been capital flight. It could have been capital flight, but it's not capital flight. It's within Nigeria.
All right, Mr. Keyamo, you are the Minister of State for Labor and Employment. I recall that a few weeks ago, the Minister, Mr. Kwesingige, gave a hint saying that the federal government may as well review the salaries of workers to reflect the current living conditions. I'd like to know, has that got into any stage yet, or Are you still tinkering with it, or has there been any progress based on that so far?
Well, no concrete progress I made of, but it's something that may come before the Federal Executive Council very soon. We have a sympathetic president. What we met on the ground is 18,000, if you remember.
Yeah.
We met 18,000 on the ground. We pushed it up to 30,000. And for me, speaking for me as a person, if my views are sought, and we begin to prepare such a memo in my ministry, and it comes to council, I would push for more. I would push for more because of the inflationary trend. I also made this point before too, that once inflation begins to rise harder, we can only justify our response to it by also increasing the minimum wage. For me, the Nigerian workers should not be on 30,000. Nobody in Nigeria today should be on 30,000 naira.
So what minimum are you likely to project or propose?
Let me tell you the problem with it, and I want to speak frankly on this program.
Please do.
Sam. Now, I think Labour must also come to terms with the fact that we have to do something about the subsidy. Because that is the crux of the matter, really. You know, it's plus minus. For us to raise revenues, to meet these challenges, we have to do something about the subsidy. Now, subsidy is taking up almost all our expected revenue. For 2023, before we even start borrowing at all, subsidy has taken up almost all the expected revenue. We're talking about 6.3 trillion or thereabout.
3.6.
And that, yes, about 6 trillion. I'm sure you know the figure.
3.6.
6.3 or so. And that's about our real expected revenues before we start borrowing money. You know, so how can we sustain that? Just how? And then we need to also then look at the welfare of university lecturers. We need to look at their welfare too. We need to look at upgrading our universities. We need to look at the health sector. Where will these monies come from, Sam? Where will they come from realistically? And when we are spending all we earn on subsidizing the pockets of some big men, because this subsidy actually goes to the pockets of some few, billionaires at the end of the day. So if we are able to address the issue of subsidy, but take note, I am speaking for myself as a Nigerian here. Okay? The president also said it during his budget presentation, remember? The president mentioned it 3 or 4 days ago when he presented the budget about removal of subsidy. It's no longer sustainable. And this is, if you allow me 30 seconds to deviate, this is the question we want to ask Labour. I raised this issue more than 4 weeks ago, no response, and all silence from the end of Labour. I want Nigerians, I want journalists, I want activists, I want everybody to ask Labour. Ask Labour, the Labour movement, and ask the Labour Party. What are they doing together supporting themselves when Peter Obi has said openly that the first thing we do is to remove subsidy? Meanwhile, Labour says they are against the removal of subsidy. Yet they are supporting somebody who says he will remove subsidy as one of his first assignments. Did they extract a commitment from him, from Peter Obi, that he has reversed that position? They met in Abuja 4 weeks ago. The Labour movement and the Labour Party. They said they are part of the Labour Party with contrasting philosophies, contrasting approach to the resolving our economic problems, the two of them. So what are they doing together? Nigerians should ask, and they are not asking these critical questions. Because Sandy said we should concentrate on the issues. These are the issues on the table. Nigerians should not be hoodwinked, should not be deceived. The Labour Party and Peter Obi should sit down and address Nigeria together and say we have reached a common ground on the issue of subsidy removal. Both of them are running health aspects, and they are running from them. In fact, Labour Party has refused to say anything today when I raised the issue. It was only Labour movement that issued a statement that they are still standing on the ground. No removal of subsidy. But when Peter Obi goes about saying that he will remove subsidy. That's the kind of strange things we are seeing on the campaign trail, and nobody's asking questions.
Okay, we would come back later to the conversation around Peter Obi, but one other thing that is of concern to Nigerians right now is you have said that this campaign would also focus on Bola Ahmed Tinubu's achievements as governor of Lagos. Now, as far as we can remember, right now, Lagos State has one of the highest population of out of school children, over 2 million. Now, that number didn't just arrive at 2 million today. It has been consistent right from the time when Ashwaju was governor of Lagos State. Now, for somebody who has had to deal with that huge number, and who is considered to build a lot of influence in politicking and governance in Lagos State, what is he going to do differently to help resolve or mitigate to a large extent that number that overs at over 10 million in Nigeria, consider the entire Nigerian population of out of school children?
It's very simple. Ask yourself, is the infrastructure in place? Yes, it is in place. Lagos has one of the most modern primary and secondary schools in terms of infrastructure across the entire country. Go and check the infrastructure in Lagos. The kind of renovation, the kind of classrooms they have. They have it. And I can't, because I want anybody to go and take pictures anywhere of public schools in Lagos and compare it to anyone in the country.
But the numbers are still high.
Hello?
But the numbers are still high. The numbers are still high. You still have over 2 million.
The infrastructure to absorb them. What government can do on its own part, while those figures are still very suspect, but I will not come on here and begin to dismiss figures. No, I will not. What I will do on my part is say, what have we done? We have provided infrastructure. Lagos has infrastructure in terms of the schools to absorb them. So perhaps it's the policy to say, how can we urge the parents to push out their children from homes to take advantage of the infrastructure? But you cannot say Lagos does not have the infrastructure to absorb the children. They have one of the best primary schools and secondary school infrastructure in the entire country. Recently, you can see that Shomolu commissioned one of the first digitalized secondary schools in Nigeria. Fact check me by Google. Just Google and fact check me. You'll see that Lagos established one of the first digital secondary schools, all digital, in Nigeria. There is no local government in Nigeria, no neighborhood that you don't see a public primary school in Lagos State. So on its own part, government has delivered. The Lagos State government has delivered the infrastructure. What is left is for us to now begin a massive campaign to let parents push out their children and ensure that they take advantage of this infrastructure. And again, at the federal level, we have to also encourage all the tiers of government. I made this point before, and people thought maybe I was just grandstanding, but it's a fact that it is not a federal responsibility. Primary and secondary education is the responsibility of both states and local governments. Federal government can only encourage, can only intervene in certain areas like funding and all that. Outside its constitutional responsibility, out of its own sense of responsibility, but it is not it's not on the federal bucket in the constitution.
All right, let's look at what falls under the federal angle, which is tertiary education. We have federal public universities all around the country right now, and the Academic Staff Union of Universities appear to have broken the record for the number of weeks of being on strike under the Buhari administration, over 90 weeks and counting. If you're going...
The line is breaking.
Okay, can you hear me clearly now?
Okay, yes, go ahead.
Yes, I said the Academic Staff Union of Universities has broken the record for the number of weeks of being on strike under the Buhari administration. The question is, if Nigerians are going to trust, because I remember running through the APC manifesto, and the first statement there is that the educational system in Nigeria currently is scandalous. It's a scandal. And you made several propositions, but university lecturers have been on strike for over 90 weeks under the Buhari administration. Whereas the APC failed to find a lasting and perhaps self-sacrificial solution to resolving that crisis, that impasse.
It's very simple. These issues are before Nigerians, and I don't want to spend time on this today talking about them because the issues are before the court right now. But let me tell you the approach that we are having to the ASUU problem. And this is an approach that will gladden the hearts of Nigerians. We want to resolve all the issues once and for all. What has happened is that for so many decades, people have just been postponing the ASUU problem, have been postponing the university education disaster waiting to happen. That is what has happened over the years. I saw a publication recently of ASUU on strike during Shagari time. It is a weapon that's often been used by ASUU. They have no other way out. At the drop of a hat, they go on strike. At the drop of a hat, they go on strike. And they push government to sign unworkable agreements. I am not saying this, I'm not going to make this statement because I want to push responsibility to the PDP government. No, we want to take responsibility. But the fact of the matter is that the agreement in question now, over which we are trying to renegotiate and to ensure that we find harmony, in university education, was signed by a PDP government in 2009 that they could not implement, unimplementable agreement. If you remember, ASUU has been saying the last 2 weeks that, sign an agreement, that there was an omnibus agreement. The president will sign it. Once they sign it, even before they sign it, they will go back. The Buhari, I knew, refused to sign it. He refused because we are just going to pass the problem to the next government. Unworkable agreement. So there are so many issues on the table with ASUU, including their payment structure. Imagine lecturers insisting that they will generate their own system by which they want to pay themselves. And while they are doing that, non-academics say, okay, they have their own too. Polytechnic people say they have their own too. Which government, Sam? I mean, be reasonable. Everybody just blames government all the time. Which government will allow that to happen? That every single sector, worker sector, will determine how they will be paid. How? Where is it going to happen in the world?
That is why I asked the question of self-sacrificial solution, because
you can see that. Hello.
I said that is why I asked the question of self-sacrificial solution, because a lot of people feel that the federal government's insistence.
Listen. When you say self-sacrificial, Nigerian people are also involved.
Because people feel that the insistence of the federal government.
All sense of respect, Sam. I want to say this with all sense of make this statement with all sense of respect to lecturers. They are not the only sector we have to take care of. I'm saying this, like I said, not derogatorily, but with all sense of respect. They are not the only sector that government has to take care of. As important as it is, as crucial as it is to national development. But the health sector is also very crucial. Because if you are learning and then you are sick and you die, where is the learning? The legal sector is also very important so that we don't take laws into our hands and begin to shoot ourselves on the street when there's no court to go to. So every sector in Nigeria works in harmony. That's the point I'm making. So we want to resolve the issues once and for all so that subsequent governments will not find problems again.
Now, how long?
And that is why perhaps we did not rush to sign any agreement to enslave Nigerians.
You're the Minister of State. You're the Minister of State for Labour.
You are interrupting me. I'm not flowing. My thoughts are not flowing. My thoughts are not flowing.
Go on, Honourable Minister.
When you say self-sacrificial, what is self-sacrificial? The self-sacrificial is that government will now mortgage other sectors of the economy. That's the meaning of the self-sacrificial. Mortgage other sectors of the economy, throw the country into crisis because you want to satisfy one sector. That's not my interpretation of self-sacrificial. It's not. You have to balance everything as government. And so, look at the money they have provided for revitalization of the university in the 2023 budget. I'm sure you heard it when the president was addressing the National Assembly.
Yeah.
We pray that also the National Assembly do not tamper with those figures because they're also going to go into their committees and all that come back with another version of the budget. So we want Nigerians to put pressure on National Assembly to ensure that these figures are kept there. And secondly, Sam, let us all sit down as a nation to look at how we are going to fund, and which is what the president is saying. If you remember, the president said we have to look at an alternative means to fund the universities once and government can no longer bear the burden alone.
All right, because you know why I was going to interject earlier and say, your party manifesto, because I believe that your candidate's roadmap would, to a large extent, align with the manifesto of the party, and your party has projected increasing the spendings on education, investments in education, from around 5% to about 24% by 2025 or thereabouts. Now, I know that since 2015, what we've seen is a steady decline in the investments in education sector, and that's you have acknowledged that that is a key field that is significant to national development. That education is significant to national development, but we've seen a constant fall in the allocation to education, and you're saying now that the government can no longer bear the burden. And that is why I asked the question of self-sacrificial, because people say, and this is what people are saying, that the insistence of the federal government reflects a lack of empathy for Nigerian students who have been out of school for almost 9 months now.
People just make statements and they don't look at the implication of the statements. They make statements that are highfalutin and in order to whip up sentiment. And I heard this statement, they make it 100 times. Oh, no empathy, no empathy. But look at the facts. What are the facts that reflect no empathy? There are no facts to say so. Government should just sign the agreement to say, oh, we have empathy. Fine, let them go back. Whereas you are destroying the future of education of the children more. So these statements people make are just highfalutin, and I apologize to use the word nonsense. It's highfalutin nonsense.
Please, let's be fair with our use of words.
No. But look at the figures. Look at what we are saying. Nobody's responding to what we are saying. Do we mortgage other sectors? Do we? Look at the earnings of government. Look at the drop in oil prices at the point. Look at the drop in production of oil. Look at all of that. Do we mortgage other sectors? Yes or no? Nobody's answering. They will just jump onto no empathy.
Okay.
That's the point we're making. But as to the roadmap forward, there's a general policy of the APC. But then I also want you to wait for the manifesto of ASUU in particular, because even if you are in the same party at times, just like you have Biden and Obama, even Biden was even vice president at that time. But Biden has his own policies right now and his own way of addressing key sectors of the American, economy and policy. Okay, so even though he was Vice President Obama, he's not taking everything hook, line, and sinker that Obama did. Not to talk about ASUU, who is not even Vice President now, who was not part of government; he was just part of the party. But he has his own manifesto on these issues now, and I will just pray for just a little patience, and you will see the new roadmap on this.
Give us a hint, because I feel that you should have at least taken a peep at that roadmap, the draft of that road.
I don't want to take the thunder away from my candidate.
No. This is just one simple, because I know you have made reference. You've made reference to Peter Obi.
You like Expo?
No, it is. We're just going to ask you this. Now, we know that you've made reference to Peter Obi, and one of the campaign points for Peter Obi is cutting the cost of governance. Now, is that something that people should also expect from the APC? Because people say that Nigeria runs one of the most expensive systems of government, especially on the continent, that the cost of funding government alone is way too high and can be plugged into other sectors. Now, cutting the cost of governance, would that be a point too for you, for the APC?
I know that even before ASUU is coming in, even for us, Buhari started cutting the cost of governance.
How?
And bringing accountability to public office. Look at the TSA that he implemented. Even though the TSA was mooted during the PDP government of Jonathan, they couldn't implement it. They didn't have the will. But Buhari insisted on the TSA, on implementing the TSA, so that every sector of government, no matter the sector, if every cover you raise must go straight to the federal account first. You can't spend money the way you like and give the balance to the federal government. Again, I'm a member of cabinet. Me, here. So I'm talking authoritatively to you. There are many of the sacrifice of office that we normally see. Oh, the minister comes, the first thing you do is to go and raise money to buy a new car for him and all that. And all those overheads in terms of travels and all that. We've cut it down. Let me give you a shocker today as I am here, Sam. I have not gotten an official car. Ask my permanent secretary, since I became minister in 2019, I did not get one official car. That's a huge sacrifice for the nation. Me.
But aside the official car, are there other?
I'm only telling you. Have you acknowledged that first?
Okay, so no cars, no official car. What else?
Openly. I'm saying it openly. I don't have any official car. I use my personal car for 2019 now. In serving the country.
But who fuels that car? Do you fuel that car too? Personally?
There is. No. There are some small overheads they give you for fueling and all that. But at least I use my personal car.
Okay. Okay. All right.
And you know what a new car is now? A new car. A Land Cruiser that a normal minister uses. That's 110 million. The list of it now is 110 million that I have saved for the country. Me, on my office alone.
All right, Mr. Festus Keyamo, we would just like to take one or two calls from people who would like to ask you questions before we let you go. The number to call is 0903 035 8774, 0903 035 8774, or you can try 0915 388 6590, 0915 388 6590. I am speaking to the Minister of State for Labour and Employment, and who is also the chief spokesperson for the Tinubu Shetima campaign, Mr. Festus Keyamo. But we have a comment here on Facebook from Ben Longe, and he is saying agriculture without adequate security has been responsible for food scarcity and high rates of inflation. What will your party do to address insecurity to put Nigeria back on the path of peace and progress? But before you answer that question, let's pick this call. Hello, good morning. Hello. Okay. All right. Honorable Minister, please.
So let me answer that question.
Yes.
I think it's better we answer questions thoroughly than take too many we cannot answer. You know. So let me take that one. That one is a very, very important question, the Facebook question. Now, the real issue that affected production, agricultural production, was the farmer credit crisis. And I want to acknowledge that at the point that affected our food production, and production went down. However, if you look at the statistics and the figures in the last 2 years, there has been significant improvement since the year 2020. The World Terrorism Index said that the thing escalated so much between 2018 and 2020. This farmer credit crisis. In fact, when we're campaigning in 2019, the thing was at its peak. The farmer credit crisis around the Middle Belt and some parts of the Northwest. The federal government has done a lot in that regard. Remember the policy that they generated to ensure that every state has its own. That's what we call the transformation. What's it called? Network. I'm just keeping my head now. You know that they have to generate.
That is the livestock transformation program.
The livestock transformation. Thank you for reminding me. Just keep my head. You know, where they have to give money, billions of naira to states to ensure that these cattle are taken off the streets and kept in particular ranches. And that is working in so many parts of the country now. And the attacks have since reduced. In fact, the World Terrorism Index said the attacks have reduced so significantly, more than 80% reduction.
But don't forget that previously we used to be at around 4th on the Global Terrorism Index, and now we are just around 6th. So we are still top 6 among the most terrorized countries in the world, based on the Global Terrorism Index.
Look at the sub-Saharan index recently, the one for 2020. For 2022 now, the recent one, they said the terrorism-related deaths have decreased by more than 80%. That's a huge one for us. And this recent unleashing of our Tucano jets and all that on the terrorists has helped a lot. Of course, the figures were bad in 2020, 2021, I agree. But the 2022 one said there's a lot of improvement on that. And so we are moving up. We are moving up. And I'm sure that by the time we hand over in 2023, we would have reduced it to barest minimum. Just like we did with the Boko Haram crisis.
All right,
The Boko
Honorable
Haram
Minister,
guys,
I'd just like you to hold on. I feel you've already made your point, but let's pick this call. Hello, good morning. Yes, good morning. What's your
Yeah,
name?
good morning. Good morning, Honorable Minister. Hi.
good morning, sir.
Yeah, my name is Charles Idowike. I'm calling from Ado.
All right, Charles, go ahead.
Yeah, please, I want to ask Honorable Minister because he said that Obi is quoting China and Singapore statistics. Yes, we know this because he has been speaking, and we have been analyzing everything he is speaking. So now my question is, when will Ashwaju Ahmed Tinubu
I'm not ready.
speak
You
to
have
us,
to
take
repeat the question.
questions as
I
he
can't hear
said
him
he's
at all.
taking? Because why I'm asking, if he will speak to us, when will he?
Okay.
Because I'm saying this because we want to hear directly from him, because we know last time when issue of restructuring come and it was presented
All right,
to
don't worry.
he said that he doesn't know anything about restructuring. So we want to hear directly from our
All right, Charles.
candidate.
Charles, we got your question. Well, Mr. Keyamo, he is asking, when will Nigerians hear Mr. Tinubu speak? He is saying that you're making reference to Peter Obi and some of the figures that he is quoting. But when will your candidate start speaking in the same light and manner and be, very specific about what he intends to do for Nigerians? But just hold on. We have another call. Just hold on. Honorable Minister, please hold on. Let's take this question and then you would let you answer both. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Moderate.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
On State,
Your name.
Infrastructure. I can agree with the Honorable Minister, and I want to tell that because of the inflow of people coming daily, that is the reason why the out of school children over there is increasing. Let me put it that way. But notwithstanding, I want to fault the federal government for the insecurity that is reaching different parts of the state. I was concerned about the West. In the state here, thank God for a little while, the insecurity has gone down. But how will the federal government not telling us the index that has just reduced with our honorable minister, or tell us how will the security be put in place? And because we know that our president himself has said something before, that killing these guys, the Boko Haram guys, is to reduce the population of the north. And in like manner, I want to believe killing the Fulani is to reduce the population of the north. How will
All right.
tackle insecurity? Thank you so much.
All right. So the questions still revolve around insecurity, and he's saying that the president has admitted that some progress has been made in the last few weeks, but does APC have a long-lasting solution to ensure that this doesn't pop up? Don't forget that towards the twilight of the Jonathan administration, we experienced some bits of record success in tackling insecurity, and then the president came in and it popped in all again, and now it looks like the same thing is happening. So does APC have a long-lasting solution to ensuring that we don't experience the sort of insecurity that we've experienced in the last 7 years?
Okay, so the last two, let me take the first one then, and then this other one, I'll take it.
All right.
The first one was about talking about
when I should start talking.
Oh no, once we begin to go around the country, they will hear from him over and over. They will be tired of hearing from him.
In fact, let me quickly ask too.
It's an assurance. You are asking that one again, no? You can let me answer this one first now.
Okay.
They will hear from him over and over and over again. So I want to assure the nation there's absolutely no problem. He's been governor of Lagos State for many years. His head is full of ideas, and they will see his ideas over and over again. He's a deep thinker. Yesterday he spoke loudly too during the inauguration of the women wing of the campaign, and the whole nation heard him. It was recorded everywhere. Go to YouTube. His speech is there. So that one is not a problem. The second question, before I take your own time, is about the insecurity issue. Because we have to wait for equipment to come in. You can imagine we ordered the Tucano jets in 2018. I think that's when we paid for those Tucano jets. And the Tucano jets came in last year, I guess, or towards the end of last year. Yes, and then now they have deployed them now, to, against the terrorists. I just want to say that if you look at the trend of our tackling insecurity, Boko Haram, when we came, Boko Haram was still occupying so many territories, but Boko Haram has not been wiped out now, but Boko Haram has been reduced so much in the northeast. The problem we face is the rise of banditry in the northwest, and of course, the farmer federal crisis that arose after we began to decimate Boko Haram. So we should really segment this issue of insecurity, segment them properly, and not take it as a whole. You will see that successes have been achieved in the different angles. Like I said, Boko Haram is almost totally wiped out. The Northeast have returned to full commercial activities and social activities. The Northeast. The Middle Belt, in terms of the farmer federal crisis, has not been totally wiped out, but it has reduced significantly. Farmers are back to their farms, and production has gone up. For the banditry, that is the success that we are achieving in the last few months now, because they have deployed all the Tucano jets and all those equipment we bought against the bandits in the northwest. And you can see that the Zamfara killings and all those ones around there have reduced significantly. Because these equipment are around now, Sam, that is the assurance Nigerians want. Because we have this equipment now, and policies have been put in place. For example, there's no Okada in Zamfara again, because they discovered that they were using most of those Okada riders to perpetrate those crimes. They have banned it entirely. So measures have been put in place, and we can assure that we will not go back to that situation again.
Okay, so 3 questions in quick succession. But first is, will Ashwaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu attend the debates when they commence?
It's not for only me to make that decision. The entire council will make that decision.
Why do you have to make a decision? Why can't he be open to debates?
Because I cannot sit down here, no matter how much I think, how much I like, and how much my opinions are. I belong to a massive party, so that decision has to be made.
Okay, now 2 other issues, but one, let me bring it down to Ekiti State, for instance. Now, I know that almost all the federal roads leading into Ekiti State are in very poor condition. In fact, it looks like the state is almost detached from neighboring states. And when you ask the state government, they say that these roads are federal roads. And the people of Ekiti State themselves would always complain and say that despite all the promises from Mr. President when he came there to campaign in 2018 and 2019, they have not felt any federal presence in Ekiti State, despite the fact that in the last 4 years, it has been the APC at the top and APC at the state level. So why should the Ekiti people entrust the APC with their votes?
The issue of the federal roads, it's not something that we can address in one interview like this. There are a lot of factors that affect it. One, of course, the revenue. That's one. And so, while we are doing Lagos Ibadan that had long been abandoned for years, we have to also spread it around the entire country. We have to do also the Kano Kaduna road in the northwest, and pick them all over the country like that. Our revenue cannot support doing all our federal roads within one election cycle. It is almost impossible, all of them. And then the budgeting process is a major headache. I will say that here. And Fashola has complained so much during our set meetings several times that we put a large number of money, huge amount of money in the budget to fix some of these federal roads. But sometimes when the budget comes out of the National Assembly, they slash it so much down, and so that it is difficult for the executive at times to implement his own vision on this road, because you still have the National Assembly to contend with there. So sometimes, and I'm saying this openly, I'm not saying this in a derogatory manner, I say it without respect. Sometimes they think that other areas need priority, they slash it down and move the money to some other areas. And so it is always frustration for the Minister of Work. And I'm sure Fashola will say this openly too if you call him to this interview. So there's a problem there in that regard. And then also the problem of revenue too, to to build this road and maintain it.
But Honorable Minister, don't
said,
okay.
can I just quickly say this? The long-term solution to our federal highways, and Nigerians must have to come to terms with it, is to toll them. It's only to toll and privatize the building, and so the building of the roads. We have to bring in private participation into the construction of these roads. Another part, we have to toll them, just like the toll roads.
Oh, okay. We will try to reconnect with the Honorable Minister. I can't say exactly why. I guess we crossed the 1 hour mark. Okay. All right. Honorable Minister, please go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, go on. Go on, sir. Go on, sir. Okay, well, I was hoping that we could get a concrete statement on the state of roads. You know, he referenced tolling the roads. But before we reconnect with him, let me quickly say that as soon as we connect that... All right, Honorable Minister, yes, just quickly, because my producers have told me that we have to leave now. So you have made an explanation that the average Ekiti person, educated elite, would seem to resonate with. But how do you get this to the core of voters, especially in rural areas? How do you give them this explanation that, see, we have a revenue problem and we can't fix this? And another thing is that the state government and the Udo state government said they had made a proposal asking that they would fix the roads, but you should allow them to toll that. And the federal government refused to approve that.
Well, I don't know the details of that arrangement. Maybe Fashola can provide the details of that very well.
Okay.
However, to your question, when the campaigns begin, like on a lighter note, when we say when the jungle matures, everybody will hear our message to the grassroots. We will spread this message. We will explain to Nigeria.
All right.
And we're going to explain to them with all respect and with the dignity of their persons in consideration. We are going to respect them, respect the voters, and explain to them.
All right, you've made more reference to Peter Obi than even Atiku Abubakar. Is Peter Obi more of a threat to the APC than Atiku Abubakar?
No. We respect everybody. It's just that for PDP, we think Nigerians have seen them, and then dismissed them. They are not in contention before Nigerians. They know them too well. I issued a statement yesterday, and I'm sure you read the statement.
Yes.
They were not saying anything new in Uyo when they went to. In fact, Nigerians have dismissed the PDP. They know them too well. It is somebody that they don't know too well, which Peter Obi that wants to expose before Nigerians. When he was the governor of Anambra State, why did he bring all those China and Singapore figures to work in Anambra? Why? It's only when he wants to run for president he's not quoting China and Singapore. You should have brought those figures to bear in your governance now. Achiwaju is a practical man, who improved Lagos for everybody to see. Everybody. And his roadmap is still being implemented today in Lagos. The roadmap. So it's successfully implemented today. Unlike somebody who could not implement one thing in Anambra, only to build a beer factory for people to get drunk. And they are not quoting China figures for Nigerians.
Okay, Honorable Minister, you are from Delta State, and you know that just recently there was the Transfocados operation that was illegal pipeline that was discovered. We had that conversation yesterday. People said the president should be indicted as the Minister of Petroleum Resources. Aside that, people also said, how did this go on for 9 years without any discovery? And that to take just 6 weeks of Tompolo doing his findings to discover that. They feel that there is some bit of high-level syndicated conspiracy at play there within government circle. How would you defend this administration that you belong to, especially in this case of oil theft?
Well, thank God you put the timeline correctly, and I was thinking you were going to put the timeline correctly. It was in the height of the PDP government that thing was established. Thank God that we are the ones who discovered it. If they have taken some time, they may have hidden it from us, but we are the ones that have discovered it.
But it took 7 years. It took 7 years. Will there be sacred cows?
Well, when you hide something so much, it takes time to investigate too. We took our time to investigate and we found it.
Will the president be ready to sacrifice people to make sure that those behind this are immediately caught and dealt with?
But you know the president. Now,
No, I don't know. You know the president more better than Nigerians do.
I don't even need to ask the president. He does not shield anybody. He does not. He does not. Whoever is the culprit, once he's discovered and they indict anybody, the president, of course, will. He doesn't even have to. The president allows his chance to work. They will be charged to court. They will be prosecuted.
All right. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister of State for Labor and Employment and spokesperson for the Tinubu Shetima Presidential Campaign Council, Mr. Festus Keyamo, SN. Thank you very much for taking time.
And Director of Public Affairs.
Yes, Director of Public Affairs. Thank you for taking time to join us and give us this explanation. We hope that when we reach out to you some other time, you would respond.
Yes, I will.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, that's the bottom line this morning. We had to take an extension by 6 minutes. Thank you to my producers here. Well, let me tell you that Chief Wale Olanikwekun, the founder of New Cruise 92.7 FM, would be among those who would be conferred with the national honor of Grand Commander, Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Please, you should stay tuned. We will try to bring you the live proceedings. Amongst other people, we know that former Chief of Army Staff, Gabriel Olanishakin, would also be among those who will be honored. Same as Michael Okpeyemi Bamidele, who is the senator representing aka Central Senatorial District. But it's a pretty interesting time. The campaigns are on, but as much as possible, don't be driven by sentiment. Deal with the issues, and that is why we are bringing all of these people to the fore. If we can bring the presidential candidates, we will bring them to the fore, yes, so that they can ask their questions, you can listen to them, and you can make a decision that will be right for you and for Nigeria. My name is Samuel Olugbemini. We will definitely be back tomorrow. No, tomorrow will be the Office of the Citizen. You should meet me at 9 o'clock. Don't miss it.